But Trump is for building Appalachian economy, not foreign invaders who will destroy our culture. I'm going to need you to run it back real quick and tell me what policies that Trump has implemented that have been a net positive for Appalachian communities and their economies.
They want to take our money. We're doing well because of tariffs. We're doing unbelievable. We're making more money than we ever have made. And by the way, we're going to take some of that tariff money that we made, just to get off the subject for a second. We're going to take some of that tariff money that we made. We're going to give it to our farmers.
The darkest part of all this is simple. Tariff is just a tax. Trump brags about the money he's bringing in, but it's coming straight out of the pockets of America's small businesses and farmers, driving some of them towards bankruptcy. Then he turns around and says he's going to give farmers money. Make this make sense.
Who are, for a little while, going to be hurt until it kicks in. The tariffs kick into their benefit. So we're going to make sure that our farmers are in great shape because we're taking in a lot of money.
Why not just let them work without taxing them to the ground in the first place? And that's because he's using farmers as pawns.
But Trump is for building Appalachian economy, not foreign invaders who will destroy our culture. I'm going to need you to run it back real quick and tell me what policies that Trump has implemented that have been a net positive for Appalachian communities and their economies. Because I'm sitting in eastern Kentucky overlooking the very hills of southern West Virginia that generation after generation have crawled back into to carve out a way of life for their families. When I tell you that since the beginning of this year, we have seen layoff notice after layoff notice after layoff notice, hundreds of men and women told that they're no longer going to have a job because guess what? The tariff war that is being waged between China and the United States is impacting the coal export. China buys the coal in the coal fields. And when China no longer wants our coal, they're going to source that somewhere else. That means our men and women no longer have a job. Not only that, you have the root diggers and the herb buyers and those very intricate pieces that are woven into Appalachian culture that are saying we don't know what the future is going to hold for our businesses because they're exported to Asian markets. You want to talk about culture, that is culture. And I could go down a completely separate rabbit hole about the Appalachian economy and how for as long as the United States history would have it, this has been seen as a place for extraction and exploitation of the land and the people, regardless of the detriment that it causes. I could rattle off a list of names that would make your head spin, both big businessmen and politicians, all born in the great old US of A, who have done far more irreparable damage to Appalachia than any Mexican or Latino person could ever think of doing. The only people who are destroying our culture are the very folks that you find yourself at the feet of worshiping. And I can tell you right now, it ain't Jesus.
A lot of this MAGA folks working in coal mine and even at big American legacy company like John Deere, Caterpillar, Peterbilt, even the blue collar worker and the people I call the machines that run America. They have gotten so accustomed to just going to work, doing the 9 to 5 and not thinking how the logistics of how you produce a part and sell the part. They don't understand that aspect. They probably think that when you work hard, manufacture a part, or dig a coal from the ground, you can sell it to your next neighbor. They don't understand how the world works. So it is coming as a shock to them that a tractor that is assembled at John Deere, the supply chain is connected all around the world, and mostly China. The components that you're assembling, those components come from somewhere. So America is not an ecosystem on its own. It needs the rest of the world to survive. And that's the lie that Trump told them. He told them that they need us more than we need them. What he forgets to tell them is back in the 90s, most of America legacy company moved all their labor-intensive manufacturing components overseas, where the labor is cheap and they have lax regulations, and they have also lax environmental regulation and labor regulations. All these corporations have done that long time ago. You cannot rip up something that was built that took almost 30 years to build in a few months. When Trump tells these MAGA folks that they need us more than we need them, that's a lie. And now they're finding out the hard way.
I wanted to tell you something. I want to show you something about cost and supply. This is a chain. This spring I had a chain go bad on my corn planter, okay? And so I went to John Deere, bought a John Deere part right here. I'm getting ready to put it on. And this is a discussion about tariffs, about what increased costs are to agriculture. I open up this chain, if I can find it in here somewhere. I'm getting ready to put it on. See, I don't know if you can see this number right here. This A20505. That's a John Deere part number. A true John Deere part number. Maybe say it on the other side. I don't know. But looky here. Made in China. Made in China. I go to put this on. I'm thinking, you know what? I don't know what I paid for it. I just grabbed it and took off. They'll send me a bill. But I do know this, that I had to pay tariff on this thing. And that cost me more money. This is a genuine John Deere part, right from my John Deere store that I've dealt with for 4 decades. Okay? China parts. That cost me money. That cost me money as a farmer. And folks don't realize of how many parts that we purchase are coming from overseas. You'll look at parts from China, of course, like it's a John Deere part, for God's sakes. Vietnam, which is probably a John Deere part, but being run through Vietnam, and other places. So when the president runs around and thinks he makes these trade deals or puts reciprocal tariffs on somebody, it's directly hurting me because that costs me more money. The proof is right here.
And here's the kicker. Trump's tariffs are crushing a lot of suppliers. If you have a big company in a particular location, there's a lot of tier 1 suppliers, tier 2 suppliers, tier 3 suppliers that are vertically integrated to that one company. And those tier 1 and tier 2 and tier 3 suppliers have people that work in those companies. So when you have a situation where the baseline tariff is increased as Trump is doing, it affects the entire economy. And the most sinister part of this is that Trump told them that China will pay for the tariffs, the same way he lied that Mexico was going to pay for the war. And they hear, yeah, Trump, yes, they're going to pay for the war because Trump is a great businessman. They didn't ask the most important question, and that is how. If you're in a cult, like MAGA is, you don't get to ask how. Your brain stops working, and the cult leader is in charge of your brain, and he does all the thinking. So they believe everything he says, and he took advantage of them on immigration and wokeness. And he told them that wokeness and immigration is their problem. They're losing their culture because of immigration and wokeness. And they believed him. And one thing that I don't really understand is, why would a farmer support Trump immigration policy if he is getting affordable labor? Or why would a small business owner care so much about culture wars and woke? But this is where we are in the finding out stage.
Well, this is a sad fucking day, guys, and I never thought it was a day that was gonna come because of Donald Trump and the fucking tariffs. It's official. I'm gonna have to sell everything. My Splorn crop, I couldn't market it, obviously, because the tariffs with China. And now, guys, he just tariffed our #1 fucking wool buyer. And now I'm gonna have to sell all of my sheep tomorrow. And then my land's probably next. I'm sure JD Vance will buy it. So guys, these are my sheep, and I spent years building this flock of sheep, and tomorrow they're all going to market, and Antarctica was our #1 wool buyer, and Trump just put a 5,000% tariff on Antarctica, and so they said, you know what, fuck you, we're not buying your wool. Guys, look at this sheep.
When farmers go under, your grocery prices will go up. And statistics are showing that a lot of farmers this year, 2025, are going bankrupt. And all these part shortages is hitting all the supply chain and small companies. And everything is getting passed down to the consumer. And ultimately, the price of your groceries, the price of your construction material, which means your rent, everything will go up. And inflation will continue to go up because of Trump's policy. Because he does not understand economics. Meanwhile, he's surrounded by a bunch of yes men who got their job out of loyalty than competence. So nobody tells him the truth as he drives the American economy into a ditch. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. See you on the next video.